From Perth, Australia, and broadcasting around the world, you're listening to The O Show with your host, Oren McCory. The O Show is a no-nonsense podcast bringing you the best advice on training, mindset, and nutrition to supercharge your efforts in the gym, the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. Don't forget to share this episode on your social media. Now, let's get to it.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of The O Show, and I'm joined today by Alice Round, who if you're from Perth, you will no doubt know. She's one of Perth's premier trainers. And Alice, it's a privilege to have you on the podcast today, mate.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been long needed and winded, and now we have to bloody pull our finger out and do our podcast and get you on there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a back and forth would be good. So, yeah. Mate, you have been one of Perth's premier trainers since I moved over. And to be honest, I think I was doing some research before I came over, and you're one of the trainers that I found just from your profile. I don't know what hashtags I was looking for. So you're one of those sort of trainers that since I moved over here 2.5 years ago has sort of been at the forefront and premier trainers. So it's great to have you on. I think you've got a ton of value you can provide people today. And yeah, if anyone doesn't follow you, I don't know what planet they're living on, because you're pretty much big stuff here in Perth, huh?
Oh, thank you. I don't know about that. I don't really see myself as a big deal, that's for sure. And it always makes me feel awkward when people give me compliments. So it's something I'm trying to be better with in life. But thank you. Yeah, it's been a long journey as a coach now. And, you know, it's crazy that I don't think I thought 10, 15 years ago that this would be where I would be, not in a bad way, but I didn't think this is where I'd be at 32 in my role, in my job, in my career. So it's been a really interesting journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And it's been good to see your business grow, because I remember at the time I moved over, before I had fully secured the job at Doherty's, I was looking around other gyms, and I remember looking at Revo in Scarborough, and I was like, oh yeah, Ali works here. Like, you know, maybe I could get on well with her, and like, you know, she could help me with what's needed to break the market here. And then it seemed like you just moved online like pretty much straight after that.
Must have been around then. Yeah. I actually think I remember you messaging me, and I was like, oh, I'm not really going to say anything because I think I'm going to stop being in the gym right now. So I think it was all around that time of me going, I've kind of dipped my toe in and out of going 100% online, and then I'll miss my clients and go back in the gym. And then you know, I've done that a bit the last probably 4 or 5 years, and I'd say I've been completely online the last 3, I think. Yeah. Since I was doing a little bit of work out of trained, and had a really good relationship with the guys there. And it got to the point where, then I got pregnant. We moved further north. It was a really big drive down there. And I just went, you know, with our goals of having a family, the gym work doesn't align with that. And it was time to, completely pull the pin from being a PT, which I still miss. I miss you know, sometimes I have to talk to my dogs rather than I'd like to talk to people, you know, talk to my 6-month-old baby. But yeah, I definitely miss the face-to-face stuff, which is why I still love trying to do seminars and things like that where I can, and would love to get that going again post-COVID, and all of the stuff that I was really enjoying and still able to connect with people through last year. Obviously prior to pregnancy and COVID, it's been a bit of a journey for 2020, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%, mate. But it's a testament to you that you built such a good business when you did make that jump fully online. And it just means now you're at home with the little one, and you've got, you know, like you say, 6-month-old Millie who you're there for, while also being able to work as well, which is awesome. Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, you know, it's not easy. I'm not sure what your situation is with like dad life and parent life, but I guess you're a little bit in the same boat now with working more online. You've got that availability a bit more to help out and play dad role.
Yeah, exactly. So I get Evie on Tuesday all to myself. She goes to daycare Monday and Wednesday when her mum works. So I just use those 2 days as big work days. Yeah. We're recording this on a Wednesday, obviously, because I've got a couple of hours left. But the Tuesdays are awesome, where we just get to chill. I don't even think about work, and just, you know, have some time with Evie, which is awesome. I just try to be super productive on those other days, I guess. So.
Doesn't it make you pull your finger out when you're a parent, when you've got like windows of time to do work? You're like, I used to be such a procrastinator until I had a child.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm going to level up now. I'm trying to get more and more productive as the time goes on. I'm like, right, cool. too much time here, more time there, be more productive. So
yeah,
I'll definitely be hitting you up for any productivity tips along the way too.
Oh mate, I think you're doing a good job. And I said that to Sean, my partner, who's also a coach for anybody listening. And when you had your kid, I said, like, look at what he's done. He's just, you know, you've leveled up your business. I feel like you've been more productive since having a kid, been busier. And because you've just got a new driving force. You've got this new amazing being in your life and you want to provide. I mean, I was already a huge hustler and a huge provider, but probably more so for my partner, Sean. I've really seen him a bit like you really step up in that role. And, you know, go, look, I've got someone that I need to put food on the table for now, and to build something, not just right now today, but thinking a bit more future focused. Whereas I've always been in that headspace, but I don't think Sean was. He was kind of like, live, you know, week to week. And if we go on a holiday, whatever, like, and now he's like, shit, I got a mortgage and a kid and, you know, these responsibilities. And I kind of said to him the other day, does that scare you? And he was like, no, it excites me now. Like, it gives me something to live for. And when we met, he didn't really have anything like that going, and probably neither did I. We were both probably a bit lost. So, you know, I think you value money and your business for a different reason. You know, now it's not about buying pretty things. It's about like providing for your child and thinking about putting them into private school or whatever, like it may be. It's such a different mindset, but I can't even remember where we were going with that. I've just gone off on a tangent. So bring me back.
Tangents are good. Tangents are good. So let's start with, we always do this with every episode, and it's just to break the ice a bit. People have already got a really good, because we had a good chat there. People have got an indication of what your personality's like, but an easy way to break the ice is our stripper name. So your first ever pet plus the name of the first street you lived on.
So it's Postpartum Valley.
Interesting.
I was thinking about that and I'm like, doesn't really make much sense. Yeah. So unless you go, Postlena, but I'm like, no, Lena Valley Road in Tasmania was where I, the first house that I remember, and I had a cat called Poss. So there you go.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, not the best stripper name.
No, well, you never know, mate, nowadays what could catch on. What about in the gym? What's your favorite gym lift, Ali?
Oh, deadlift. I think that's the one that people just know me as like the deadlift, like the sumo deadlift specifically. But definitely it's a lift that I feel strong and empowered and motivated by. I would say that. And I also just love a good shoulder press. Like those two movements, definitely my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And final one that I'll just throw in, it just literally popped into my head. You've competed in both the IFBB and the WBFF. Which is your favorite?
IFBB.
Nice.
IFBB has my heart. Yeah. I've also done ICN, IMBA before it was ICN, WFF, NABA. Pretty much all of them over the years. But I only did WBFF once. It was one of my worst preps. So I don't actually blame the federation itself. It was probably there was just so much wrong with that prep, not the coach or anything. But anyway, I won't go into that. Whereas IFBB, I don't know, for me personally, I like the look that they're going for. The look's consistent. You know what you're getting. It's competitive, which I like. I just like the whole presentation. I like the posing better than WBFF was a little bit too sexy for me. I'm not really the most naturally sexy person. So I found the posing much more challenging, and I am a posing coach and I still found that quite hard compared to IFBB, but maybe that's just because I've done it more. Definitely the IFBB still has my heart. That's for sure.
Cool. That was just one that literally popped into my head. So I thought I'll just fling it at you, because most people are one camp or the other, and very few people have actually done both. So it's good to get some perspective. And obviously, if IFBB is still coming out at top above all those other federations, then it must be right up there then. So let's get into the meat of it, because people will be able to tell from our chat at the start, we're both very passionate about family. You've got a 6-month-old, Evie's just turned 1. So what I noticed since you got pregnant and post-pregnancy now is your content towards females and pregnancy and training and post-pregnancy. Everything's like sort of, you're still doing the comp prep and the body comp goals, but there's like a passion that's developed about helping women who've been in the same position that you've been in recently. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why, apart from obviously going through the experience, why is that sector of the market kind of appealing to you?
I don't even know if it was on purpose, to be honest. I'm not really somebody who content plans. I don't really, have this grid on my Instagram and it needs to look all pretty and it needs to go like that. I probably should. Business coaches in the past have been like, hey, maybe you should have a little more structure. But to be honest, I just want my Instagram to be super genuine. I want people to come on there and have a genuine experience. I don't want it to be too salesy. I don't want it to be too pitchy. I just want people to come on there and gain some education value, or just get a warm, fuzzy feeling from reading a post because they're going through it or they've had a challenge with that. And yes, sprinkle education in there and put all that other stuff in there, and occasionally tell people I'm a coach. But I just want my Instagram to reflect also my life. And I think that when I had Millie, I had a bit of a struggle with content and lots of content blocks, because I was trying to think, okay, what do I need to deliver? What do I need to put out there? And I kept trying to kind of hide my mum life actually at the start. And I was like, well, my followers have followed me because of comp prep, because of body comp goals, because of powerlifting. And now all of a sudden I'm a mum. Why would they care about that? And I got really stuck and actually stopped posting for a few weeks and had a bit of a, like, where to now? So I tried to do some brainstorming, and then I spoke to one of my friends who is actually, in the whole fitness scene. I spoke to Brendan McCormick, and I had a chat to Renee Roberts, now formerly Porter. And they were like, you just need to own this phase in your life and step into it and stop trying to hide it, because you know what? You're going to lose some followers. You're going to lose some people who don't give a shit about your baby. They were like, just accept that. But they were like, but who would you rather be? Like, you told us that you want to have genuine content. So if you hide that part of your life, then how is that genuine? And as soon as I kind of just started owning that, it was much easier to post. And I also have found that the response from women has been amazing, because there's been a lot of topics that hopefully I've brought up in the motherhood journey and being a working mum and, trying to hit my fitness goals and all those things that a lot of women don't talk about. The struggles with breastfeeding and the issues with the sleep deprivation and a very refluxy baby and all the stuff we've dealt with Millie. It's not that it's fitness content, but it's relatable in the sense that it affects your fitness goals. So if you're trying to hit your goals and you've got a kid that doesn't sleep, that shit's going to get in the way, And I think rather than just going, oh, it doesn't matter, just get through anything, it's like trying to be a little bit more empathetic with people's journeys. And I think even though I coached mums and pregnant women prior, I think that you don't know how to talk about it until you go through it. You don't know how to have those conversations. And I think it's now just been a case of that I'm passionate about getting women now to see that they can still reach their fitness goals postpartum. They can look better than what they did. Like, pregnancy should not be a thing that stops you. And also just the importance of pregnancy during training, health and fitness during training, your nutrition, everything, and how much of a better pregnancy it can set you up for. And also labor, birth, delivery, the whole experience, if you focus on not only your training and nutrition, but also where your mindset's at. So I think just going through it and seeing how taking care of those things impacted on a pretty good very healthy pregnancy for her, not so much for me. I actually had a HG pregnancy, but the delivery, the labor was great. And, I've been able to get back into the gym quite quickly and not really have any major complications or issues there. So yeah, I think that kind of answers it. But honestly, it's just, I don't really structure my content, would be the simplest way to put it. It's just, it is what it is. I post bits of my life. I try to sprinkle education in there and try to always tie it back to the type of coaching we do as well. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I think it does come across as very genuine and very just you, like whether it's a Q&A or it's educational post or it's a family post, it does just seem like it's just Ali's Instagram. Like, you're just a normal person just sharing your day and then trying, like you say, sprinkle little nuggets of wisdom in through the content that you're posting up and the Q&As and things that you're doing. So keep it up, mate, because I'm enjoying it, and it's obviously working because business is good, your following's good. And out of interest, did you drop many followers when you started posting more of that?
I did. I lost a lot of dudes when I got pregnant.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. It was funny. I lost when we posted the pregnancy announcement, and I don't like to look at my analytics because I feel like it can do your head in a little bit. But my male percentage used to be 55% and now it's 45%. And so my actual numbers are about the same. So I actually gained definitely a lot more mums, a lot more females, and lost a lot of dudes. And you know what? I'm here for it. Like, I'm okay saying goodbye to like the creepy dudes that were just here for like, back when I started my Instagram, all I used to post was like me being in really good shape, photo shoots, really filtered stuff, like not a lot of reality. And because I think everyone hides behind that when they start a social media account, especially back in the day, that was kind of the norm. Whereas now, since the content's gotten a little bit more real and raw, I've definitely changed the type of people that follow me, which I'm here for, because it puts less pressure on me. When I was only posting those photo shoot photos, comp prep photos, I felt like I had to stay in that shape year round. And that was really exhausting and put my metabolism not in a great place. Like, had lots of health complications from trying to feel like the only reason that people would follow me is because of my body. And now I feel like people follow me for other reasons, which are a bit more sustainable than a physique, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's massive. And like you said, if they followed you pretty much overnight from the pregnancy announcement, they obviously were just following you for those pictures. So you're better off without them. So yeah. Wouldn't even worry about that, mate. I wouldn't even worry.
No.
So in terms of lessons learned through both coaching females in the pregnancy phase and going through it yourself, what do you think are the common things that sort of need addressed, or things that coaches and pregnant women don't realize that they need to really clue up on?
Okay, that's a big one. So let's think about some of the really key ones. Number one, if I get one more DM from a woman telling me she wants to lose fat during her pregnancy, I may scream, because I get this message all the time. When you are pregnant, you have to accept that you are now pregnant, that your body is not yours really anymore. It's for somebody else. You're growing a being. That's number one. Whether you wanted to be pregnant or not, whether it was planned or not, you have to accept that. So I think acceptance of where you are in your stage of your journey is really important for women. I think a lot of women are like, oh, I'm pregnant now, I'm going to get fat, or now I'm going to lose muscle, or now this is going to happen. You know what? That is going to happen. You are going to gain fat. You are going to lose muscle. Strap on in, because, you know, like, and that's what I say to my clients. I'm like, I know that sounds harsh, but I'm not someone who's going to beat around the bush. If you come to me and say you want to lose fat and gain muscle during your pregnancy, like, that's not a conversation that we're going to be able to facilitate. And I can't coach that goal, because it's not healthy for your baby. And the number one thing when you're pregnant now is your child's health. You know, your health is going to impact on their health as well. So your health and your goals are important. So I'd say that probably the number one thing is changing your expectations and making sure that your expectations align with your health, and that your goals are really clear and on track, but also achievable. So I think as well, just setting the bar a little lower. Sometimes if you're a bit of a high achiever, I'm a super high achiever, and I thought, yep, when I'm pregnant, I'm going to train 5 days a week, and I'm going to do X and Y, and I'm going to eat so healthy. And then I had a HG pregnancy, which, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, basically where you were sick for your entire pregnancy, for the whole 40 weeks, well, 39 and 5, and then I got induced. Ouch. But I actually lost weight in my pregnancy. So a lot of women then were coming to me saying, well, can I lose weight in my pregnancy? And I was like, no, this wasn't intentional. Like, I had my head in a toilet every day. I was on medication. I was at the hospital. Like, this wasn't fun. Like, I might've looked good on the outside, but like, I wasn't healthy. So my point I'm trying to make is that your pregnancy really has to be focused on yours and your child's health, number one. And then training and nutrition obviously is going to support that. And you just have to really do what is right for you. And the other tip is, you can't follow a generic pregnancy program, because everybody's pregnancy is going to be different. And I've had a lot of women say, are you going to put out a pregnancy ebook and a this and that? And I'm like, no, because it doesn't align with my ethics. And if I put out a generic pregnancy training guideline, what if somebody has got severe pubic symphysis, which is what I had in my pregnancy, and they can't do a single Bulgarian or split squat? Or what if they've got severe lower back pain? What if they've got, you know, issues with their placenta? What if they've got complications, and then you prescribe something and then they end up harming the baby? Like, that to me is just dangerous. So I think the biggest thing is, if you're going to train in your pregnancy, work with a coach, or work with a physio, work with a female health specialist, anybody that can really tailor a program to your pregnancy. And that plan also needs to change throughout the pregnancy. So you may start off with doing one thing, but then as you grow, you might get more back pain. You might get, you know, issues. You might just have to change your stance of a squat because now your belly's in the way, you know? So I think it's important that it has to tailor to the individual. And then from a nutrition standpoint, it's actually not really that complicated. I think people overcomplicate it a bit. I think that that's probably a big problem as well, is that they think that they need to eat a really specific way and hit a crazy amount of calories. You really don't. There's a slight increase, really more so in the second and third trimester, as long as you're kind of eating at least to your maintenance in that first trimester. But really, you're not eating for two. Like, your baby's tiny. Think about how small they are. And also, it's about energy balance. So generally, your energy expenditure is declining throughout a pregnancy. You're training less aggressively, less intensely for most people. So your requirements actually lessen anyway. So if most of my clients, I don't even really need to increase their calories that much in that final trimester, because they're really starting to slow down in their physical output. So yeah, probably the big mistakes is managing expectations and goals, making sure that their training is safe and tailored to them as an individual as their body changes throughout the pregnancy. And then really mindset around fat gain and muscle gain, and understanding that they have to start accepting that, but we can manage that as well. It doesn't mean that you just got to let go and go, oh, well, fuck it, I'll put on 30 kilos. But it's about managing your expectations around how your body physically is going to look and change. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that first one that you had in terms of the mindset shift of this isn't possible to do that goal and have the goal of having this baby delivered healthily, like that's massive. And that's something that probably a lot of women go through, because they want their body to stay as normal as possible, like what they're used to for 20, 30 years of their life. And it can be quite hard, I guess. Well, you talk to me about it. Like, is it hard to watch your body change?
Yeah. One of my clients
during pregnancy?
What did she say the other day? A client said it's like watching your favorite pub burn down. And I was like, I said, no, that's childbirth. But yeah, it can, look, it is hard. And I think especially for me being a coach, I was very worried that my audience on Instagram, nobody would be interested in following anymore, because I've all of a sudden, inverted quotes, gotten fat, which we know that's not what pregnancy is, but that's how a lot of people see it. But also, especially with clients who have worked really hard to get to a goal, especially my clients who have been competitors and been to that level of lean that is, next level lean, not only taken ages to build muscle and then all of a sudden things change. I guess my mindset shifted very quickly when I had 2 miscarriages in a row. So that was kind of the start of our pregnancy journey, which didn't really start off with the biggest bang, but that really showed me that by the time I went through that second one, I couldn't have cared less how my body looked. Like, if somebody said to me, you're going to gain 40 kilos and you're going to lose all your muscle, but you're going to have a healthy kid, I would have done it. I would have worried a bit about my business, but I would have done it. And I think that the biggest thing I always say to my clients is you need to have perspective. You need to be grateful that you're pregnant, because there's so many women out there that can't get pregnant, or that maybe don't have a partner, that are single at 40 and would love to have kids, that have gone through miscarriages, that are doing IVF, that cannot have a child for whatever reason that be. They might be in a same-sex relationship. It might be a couple of guys and they're trying to, adopt a kid. I think that perspective and gratitude is something that's so, so important to get you through things that might be a little more challenging to you. And also it makes you kind of change your belief system and really get you going, is this the way that I really need to be seeing this scenario? So I'm just going to get some water. My throat is gone dry. I think perspective and gratitude is everything. When I had those miscarriages, my best friend was pregnant at the same time, and I was so excited for our kids to be born together and grow up together and all of that. And like I said, I would have given anything to just be pregnant again. So by the time I got pregnant that third time, I was like, if I need to sit on the couch for 40 weeks and not lift a thing, like, I don't care. Yeah. And I really did do that for the first 8 weeks. When you're in that kind of scary miscarriage zone, I didn't really do a lot. I ate a lot. I sat around a lot, and I only put in a couple of kilos. Like, it doesn't happen like that overnight. So my biggest advice to any women out there struggling with it is you need to gain some perspective, and you need to really stop. I say to my clients sometimes, don't be a brat. Like, sometimes you can be a bit bratty and be like, oh, my body's going to change. Also, see it as a challenge. See it as like, I'm going to push this kid out, create another human life, which is amazing. And then I'm going to focus on my physical goals afterwards and get back to where I was, if not better. Why does that have to stop me? Because I think people also sometimes don't have confidence in their own abilities to then, after they've had the baby, put the work in and get back to where they, wherever they want to be. Perspective, gratitude, and believe in yourself that you can achieve amazing things after you have a kid as well.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I think every point you brought up is very, very relevant and stuff that people should take on board, whether they're pregnant now or they're planning it in 5 years from now. It's stuff that they really just need to take on board and just run with and think about the baby. Because like, I haven't went through a pregnancy, but I know what it's like after, and it's the best fucking thing in the world. And people just need to put the short-term physique goals to the side and just realize that everything they're doing through the whole pregnancy is to create this bundle of joy at the end of it, right? Screaming bundle of joy that keeps us up all night, but is 100% worth it.
Yeah, if you had asked me that first month postpartum, I might have been like, don't know if this is worth it. No, I'm kidding. No, it's she's at a really cool age now where I really, really love being a parent, and it just gets better each day. But yeah, I think another one, if there's male listeners, which I'm assuming you have guys on your podcast, is when your missus is pregnant, tell her how beautiful she looks every single day. Tell her how amazing she looks. Not just pregnant, because this is something that I see in society. People tell pregnant women that they look beautiful. How often do they tell a woman postpartum she looks beautiful? So, you know, they come out and a kid comes out and they're like, oh my God, your baby's so cute. And then there's this poor disheveled woman who's like had her, you know, vagina cut open or a stomach or whatever, been through this like ordeal. And then they're focusing on the baby and they're like, how cute's the baby? Baby's just sitting there like a spud. Like they don't And this woman, so women need to be more praised for the postpartum. I think that there's a lot of praise around pregnancy. You look beautiful and glowing, and then you're disheveled or no sleep, breastfeeding, leaky boobs, tired. And then no one really focuses on women after birth, I don't think enough. And that's where a lot of postpartum depression comes in. So I think that if you're a guy listening to this, when your woman has been through that for 9 months and then been through birth, you need to be like worshiping the ground that she walks on, like, you know, and I'm sure you did that with your missus, and my partner does a great job of that. And I think surrounding yourself with people that are also going to lift you up around those times in your life, because it can be really hard to deal with. So making sure that if you're also struggling with your image, speak to someone about it. If you're struggling physically, you know, speak to a friend, speak to a parent, speak to another mum who's maybe been through it, or even your partner, because they might not be aware of how much you're struggling. And I think a lot of issues with depression and anxiety come up because people don't speak about it. So I think that's really important as well.
That's massive, you know, as a partner, making sure that you sort of build up your partner and tell them they're beautiful, and even just buying them the odd thing. Like, it doesn't need to be every week or every day, but, you know, just the odd bunch of flowers here and there, and then it makes them feel appreciated, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, even like do the dishes, like mop the floor, like
every night.
Yeah. Take the dogs for a walk. Let us have a nap. Like, it's just like the smallest things. Like, I don't even think it needs to be big gifts, but I don't know if you like do love languages, but my love language would definitely be more like gifts of service. So like helping out with stuff. Whereas Sean's is definitely affection. So his is pretty straightforward. But you know, I think I guess it's like I would say I am a feminist. And I think that the way that people are having babies in today's society, this is going totally off fitness, but whatever, is like, I think that the roles are really shifting a bit more with parenting. And I think it's great that you help out and you have your daddy day. And I think more of that stuff needs to happen. And it's crazy. I put up a poll the other day on Instagram about this exact topic, and women saying they are so pissed off that whenever their dads look after the kids, they say that the other people say, oh, your dad's so kind, he's babysitting. And they're like, well, he's not babysitting. It's his kid. Like, you know, whereas when a mum looks after them, it's not like, oh, what a great mum, she's babysitting, you know? So I think that it's really a time that women can now, you can have both, you can work, you can have a baby, you can do it all if you choose to, you know, that's again, your choice. And that men now have to also go, okay, well, if my woman wants to do that and she wants to work a bit and she wants to also have a kid, I'm going to support that and also do what I can on my end and be a team at the end of the day. And that's what I mean about that support of her throughout her pregnancy as well. Be that team, be that person that I'm sure that you wanted the baby as well. You know, I say that to the guy, it's not a one-way street. And I'd love to know how many men would have a baby if they could have a baby, if they had to go through pregnancy and childbirth. I would love to do that poll. But and I even said that to my partner. I said, would you have one if you could? And he was like, I'm going to say yes, because I don't have to. So,
yeah, it's never going to happen. So I think, I would do it as well.
yeah, sure you would. Yeah.
For the sake of this podcast, I would do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
whether it would when push came to shove is a different matter, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, all right, I'll let you go back to fitness stuff now because I've gone completely off on a pregnancy rant and feminist rant there.
No, I think that's good. And I think it leads into, like while I was talking about, the partners, supporting and empowering the women to do what they want to do and feel appreciated. Now, let's talk about female empowerment, because the reason why this is so big is everyone's got this photo challenge going on now at the minute, right? Yours was this morning. I've seen multiple ones yesterday, so put it in my head. Right, let's talk a little bit about that. So what does female empowerment mean to you, and why is it so important?
So I think female empowerment is really about understanding that we need to get rid of the gender roles. I think that's a huge one for me. That's my take on it in particular, that really, it's not so much, female empowerment is just the fact that we don't have to be boxed in as females do this and males do that. And, it's really funny that I think a client actually said it to me yesterday. There's a stat that when females and males are much more inclined to ask for a pay rise in a job, whereas females never ask for pay rises. They wait until they're offered a pay rise. And it's this past stigma of, that men are much more confident within themselves as well. And I think this female empowerment movement is really about getting women to be more confident in themselves, asking for things that they want in their life, going after it, and not being scared that, a man's going to take a job role that was meant to be for them or somebody else. And I think just stepping up in that regard of what we're capable of, and really just equalizing the playing field, so to speak, between the two. I can't remember what the second part of your question was, but
why is it so important to you? Why is it such a big thing?
Yeah. I think my upbringing was definitely a big part of it. So I grew up, I have two brothers, one older, one younger, and I was a massive little tomboy. And I remember when I was a kid and I was like, I wish I was a boy. It's not fair, because I wanted to play football. I wanted to play AFL, not soccer. So I always wanted to play AFL, and I always wanted to play the boys' sports. I always wanted to wear my brother's clothes. I always wanted to do all that stuff. I didn't want to wear dresses. I didn't want to wear pink. I didn't want to be boxed into like girly things. And my mum was a stay-at-home mum, and there's no shade to my mum at all. She's a great mum. I had a great childhood. It's nothing against that. But what I saw was that my dad went to work and my mum stayed at home with the kids. And I always thought in my head, I was like, I don't really want to do that. Like, I want to have kids one day. I always knew that. I always knew I wanted to be a parent, but like, why can't we have both? And I never really understood it. So I think a big part of me was that upbringing of seeing certain things, seeing how much a male AFL player is paid compared to, say, a female player, or not so much, there wasn't AFL back then, but I remember seeing how much the top women in the Australian women's netball team got paid compared to the AFL. And it was like they still needed to work full-time jobs to put food on their table, and these men are on like $1 million contracts a year. And it's just, there were certain things with sport growing up, because I was such a sporty kid, and that's how I got into the fitness industry, was through, I was a athlete, I was a sprinter. And there were so many things that I would always see throughout sport where men would be favored. And I think that was a huge part of it. And then also jobs and careers growing up. I think it's changed a lot the last 20 years, but definitely going back 20 years ago when I was sort of a little kid, I would just see so many roles that males were always in, and I'd always wonder why. I'd always say, why are most of the politicians men? Why are most of, these people men? Why is it that when I go to the doctors, most of the doctors are men? Like, and as a kid, I was always quite curious as to what that was about. And then I think I was scared that I would get boxed into being a stay-at-home mum, which again, nothing wrong with that. It's not what I'm trying to say. So please don't come at me, stay-at-home mums. But if you wanted to have both, was that possible? Was, I guess, my intention behind it. And I think it's so important as well, because at the end of the day, females shouldn't have to rely on a man to provide for them. And that's probably my number one reason as to why I'm so passionate about it too. My parents, they obviously got divorced, and then my mum was kind of left with nothing. And that's no shade to my dad again, but she hadn't had a career for 30 years, like how was she then supposed to go back out into the workforce when, she didn't really have anything to fall back on. She's now divorced. She'd moved to Western Australia. We're from Tasmania. and she was here by herself. And like, that was, I saw her go through that, and that was really hard. And I remember saying to myself, I'm always going to make sure that I've got a backup plan. Even if I'm with a guy and we're married and we have kids, I'm going to have shit that's for me, because if that all goes south, my kids have grown up and I'm left like not knowing what I want to do, and I have no fulfillment and joy other than my children, then I just want to make sure I've got something else for me. And again, like I said, please don't come at me, stay-at-home mums, because I think that is a job in itself. But it was more so just thinking about that bigger picture for when I'm older. And I would love to be a stay-at-home mum right now and just be full-time with Millie. But unfortunately, I run my own business, so you can't really just take a year off and then jump back in. But I'm grateful also that I've set my life up in a way that I can do both right now. And I always had that in the back of my head. So I think, yes, the number one thing is me not ever wanting to rely on a man, and then also seeing those kind of discrepancies in gender roles throughout growing up, and wanting to make sure that I was a part of the change in terms of women just having more confidence in themselves, that they can provide for themselves, they can do certain things, but then not also being so savage that it's like that I don't need no man attitude, you know, like I still think that I'm obviously engaged, we're meant to be getting married, but who knows with COVID. I'm also not such a hardcore feminist that I'm like, oh, you don't need a man at all. It's like, well, I needed a man to make a baby. And also like, he is amazing and he's amazing, an amazing partner, but we see ourselves as equals. We don't see ourselves as male role, female role. It's like, okay, we are equals, we are best friends, we are lovers, we are all those things. And you can have that in a relationship. It doesn't need to be like separate roles.
Yeah. That's really killer, mate. And was that seeing that growing up and that drive one of the reasons why you wanted to have your own business, where you're like in control of what you earn when you work and all those other factors that comes with being self-employed?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if my intention was to ever work for myself, but it was definitely to be in a career that had longevity, I think, and that I have worked for other people before and I didn't like it. I think it was that I like the part I really like about working for myself is if I put the work in, I'll get the result. Whereas I felt like sometimes when I worked for other people, and if there wasn't incentives, it wouldn't really drive me. And it wasn't really enough for me. And I am a creative and I like to, you know, change things and amend things. Whereas I don't think that everybody out there should be their own boss. I think that some people are really good at it and other people are much better with direction and structure and consistency. Whereas business owners are slightly insane because there's no consistency. Like, you know, you could work till midnight one day and the next day have the day off, or there's going to be things that are thrown at you all the time that you have to kind of handle. Whereas when you work for somebody else, you've got a lot more stability. So I think that, I don't know if it was my intention to ever have my own business, but I knew I always wanted to have my own income and my own kind of security there, and not have that reliance on a partner to do that.
Yeah, that's massive as well. And it's a big motivator for anything in life, like building your own empire and doing things your own way, right? That's why I couldn't work a 9 to 5 or work for anyone else, because it's not my way of doing things and it's not me in control.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We've just got that brain, and that's not to say that what we're doing is right or wrong. It's just that's what gives us joy, you know, at the end of the
100%.
day.
Yeah, 100%. So Ali, I know you've got a call with a client in 10 minutes. So let's round it off with what's next for Team Round. What's upcoming?
Well, so I guess we haven't really talked about coaching much. So with the team, I've been a coach now for, I think, like 12 years. So it's been a while. And we went fully online a fair few years ago. So Sean, my partner, is a part of Team Round as well as works in the gym PTing, much like you. And then I've got Demi and Jess, who have been with me for about 4 years. Demi's been 2 years. And then we've just got Beck. So she's been on the team for a couple of months. So the goal, and why I guess I hired coaches that work for me, is that I would get so many inquiries, and which I'm so grateful for, but I couldn't service them all myself. And I felt like we were turning away so many amazing people because I couldn't facilitate like working with 100 clients a week. I was just burning myself out. I was stressed out. I was not doing any of the shit I would tell my clients to do. So I was like, you know, make time for sleep, make time to do this. And I was like working till midnight, up at 5 a.m. to facilitate and help people with their goals, because I had a bad habit of not being able to say no, especially when somebody really needed help with their health and fitness. So I hired the other coaches. I do a lot of staff mentoring and training with them every single week, and they help out in our breakthrough program, which is one of our big core programs. And then also our one-on-one coaching once I'm happy with them kind of transitioning to that. And then I help out with checking their programs, telling them about their clients. So really when you're getting coached by one of my coaches, you're getting coached by me as well. And that's the way I always explain it to people. So the next thing for us is, I guess, just continuing to grow and evolve, work with more clients, help more people. We help a wide variety of women, and we do work exclusively with females. And then from here, hopefully get back into some seminars and things next year would be nice. I guess it's been hard with Millie, and you know what it's like. We have one day a week that's our family day, and that's a Sunday. And that's when I used to run seminars and stuff. So I guess it would be saying goodbye to our family day if I was to do that. But I know I can do that even if it's once every couple of months. We'll make that work. And I guess right now in my life, it has been a lot about the business, but to be honest, right now, it's also a lot about family and actually stepping back a little bit as a coach and letting the other coaches shine and come up and help support them in their growth, whilst I kind of step back a little bit and make sure that I'm adding valuable content to the business, continuing to grow the business, but from other aspects, and just spend some more time with my daughter. So I think it's what's that quote where it's like, I always say it, and it's like, work like you need to work like you don't have, women are expected to work like they don't have kids and raise a kid as if they don't work. And that quote always resonates with me so much, because I have had a few people lately that get in contact and they're like, can you take me on as a client? And I'm like, I've got a wait list, you know, I'm only working with say 30 clients a week at the moment. I'm like, oh, please, can you just squeeze one more in? And I'm like, no, because it's that old rule of I need to still have my structured time with my daughter and still be a great mum, and then still find that fine line of how much I can work. So at the moment, it's not really a big like hustle era right now. It's like honestly more of a consolidate, make sure everyone's good, make sure my coaches are good, make sure my daughter's happy. And then, you know what, maybe in 6 months time, we'll be dropping a new program or launching some new content, which is one of the plans. I actually want to do some more work on some postpartum programming. So like I said, I don't want to do pregnancy specific, like programming as a whole, but working postpartum with women on their mindsets and transitioning them through that kind of postpartum journey is definitely something that I want to put out more content on, especially mindset, because so many women struggle more than they even talk about with postpartum depression, or not even depression, but just feeling different emotions that they're struggling to kind of understand and comprehend. So navigating them through that will be something that I'm super passionate about going forward, and helping to figure out something yet. I haven't decided what I want to do with it, but we'll get there. I need some brainstorming time.
Nice, mate. Well, we'll look out for that, no doubt. Sounds like big plans on the horizon, and I love the fact that there's family time still built in there as well, and the whole business is centered around you having that time, which is amazing to hear. I hope you just keep crushing it and keep building this empire while still enjoying that time, mate, because it's literally is the most special thing ever. But it's good to see that you've got a good balance with it all. We're trying. We better get it in before we think about a second one. So yeah. I wonder if you go first or we'll go first. Are you guys planning on a number 2 anytime soon? We'll just have to wait and see, mate. Just taking things one step at a time, I guess, and see how we go from there. That's it. But no, really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. And just easiest way, if you do want to get in touch about anything with postpartum or pregnancy or comp prep or whatever, just my Instagram at Ali Round, and then we've got links all in the bio to everything there. And that's pretty much it. Awesome. Well, Ali, thanks for coming on. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please screenshot any part of this podcast and tag both of us in it, so we know the podcast has went down well. It gets the podcast out there, gets the information in the right hands, and your friends and family can come and enjoy the podcast as well. So, Ali, thanks again for coming on. It's been a long time building up to this, but it's been an absolute pleasure. So I hope you have a great day, and this should be up sometime in the next week. Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me know when it's up and I'll share it along, and then we'll have to get you on our podcast. Yeah, absolutely. Let's hook that up. Awesome. All right. Thanks, mate. See ya. Thanks, Ali. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The O Show with your host, Oren McCory. If you liked this episode, then please subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening and share this on your social media. We'll see you on the next episode for more no-nonsense advice to help you supercharge your efforts in the gym, in the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. See you then.